So this video is the very definition of speculation. We can look back on this and go, Cyberboy, you were wrong. Or maybe, Cyberboy, you were right. We'll have to see. Throughout this video, I'm going to show which parts of my predictions come from the trailer and which parts of my predictions have actually come from the leaks. Firstly, I've set myself a ridiculous goal of getting to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm not sure if it's possible, but we'll give it a go. So if you could tap that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to be notified when I upload, it's massively appreciated. Love you all. But before we start, we need to talk about the obvious. This is a crime game based in a fictional version of Miami with an automotive background based on the underworld with characters that resemble Eva Mendes and Paul Walker. I definitely think there's going to be a strong link to the Fast and Furious movie franchise. In particular, the Too Fast, Too Furious movie prequel, which is basically a little short film that they made between the first Fast and Furious and second Fast and Furious that kind of explains how Brian, Paul Walker, switches sides and actually flips on the law enforcement and starts working for the criminal underworld, all because of the woman he loves. So with that in mind, let's go through my theory. So I think it will probably start off with a robbery or a very small heist. And this would be a robbery that potentially Lucia's involved in for good reason. Maybe she's desperate for money, maybe she's in a really bad situation and needs some money to start changing her life. Now, from the leaks, we could see that Lucia has a very keen interest in technical stuff like hacking, and she has very good technical knowledge. So there may be a situation here where potentially a third-party crew, another crew, has pulled her into a job because they need her skill set and she really needs the money. However, in this instance, Lucia goes to jail. She gets caught. This is probably where Rockstar would give us our tutorial. So that first heist mission would probably show us how to use weapons and maybe some hacking equipment. But in jail, in a closed off environment, this would be the perfect opportunity for Rockstar to show us how to pick up items, how to interact with the world around us in an environment where we can't escape and get distracted by doing other things. This is what we've seen with every single Rockstar Games game previously, where the first mission or two, well, the first 10 missions in theory, have all been tutorials. Now, whilst in jail, Lucia has to have regular meetings with her parole officer / in-house officer, which would be Stephanie, who we saw in the trailer. Stephanie allows her to get out on parole as long as she has an ankle monitor, which of course we saw this ankle monitor in the artwork. Now, while she's out on parole, she's restricted to certain parts of the map because of her ankle monitor. This is a modern way that Rockstar can do their geo restriction like we saw in the earlier Grand Theft Auto games. Now, while she's out, of course she's restricted to a certain area, so she's probably staying in a motel whilst on parole, or potentially in a rundown apartment or quite a low income area surrounding Miami. It's during this time where we're introduced to Jason, a police officer who's tasked with investigating Lucia and the crew that she previously ran with for that previous heist. Now, potentially that first heist that Lucia does means that she's involved with some pretty bad people. Now, the way to infiltrate a group is to infiltrate a group for the most vulnerable person, and it looks like in this instance Lucia would be the most vulnerable person. So Jason, being tasked with investigating her and her crew, is put in a situation where he has to go and find a way to introduce himself, whether that's him bumping into her at a motel or bumping into her somewhere and getting conversation flowing. Now, this leads to Jason befriending her, then becoming relatively close, going for a coffee, having a chat, and this is where Lucia potentially starts to open up about the situation she's been put in. For example, her getting arrested, what led to those events and why it all happened. Now, during all of this situation, Jason previously wasn't aware of why she committed the crime she committed. He wasn't aware that this person, who was, for all intents and purposes, a criminal, had bigger means to commit the crime she committed. And this is where the seed gets planted for Jason to understand Lucia more as a person, rather than just a perpetrator of a crime. We then go off and do other menial missions. Jason's tasked with investigating other people in the crime ring, going around to businesses that the crime family own, snooping around and investigating some more. And during this period, Lucia finds herself in her own form of predicament, whether that's the old gang that she ran with putting her in a situation where she needs to commit more crimes, or some sort of turmoil, the usual anchor points and storylines that make a turn of events happen. This predicament could be her having to go back doing crime work, but of course this would mess with her chances of freedom whilst on parole, and she's put in a very difficult situation. During this time, the relationship between Jason and Lucia blossoms, and this is where we can skip ahead a little bit. During this period, Jason actually ends up falling in love with her. He's then forced to make a difficult decision himself. This will be a second anchor point in the story. Either he investigates and potentially arrests the woman he loves, or become one of the most wanted fugitives in Leonida. Whilst in the middle of these two decisions, he's working with the police to investigate Lucia and her gang, but potentially planting evidence, disrupting evidence, or trying to lead the police off the trail, and at the same time feeding information back to Lucia to always keep her one step ahead. Eventually he makes the hard decision to flip sides and actually help Lucia. This is where they both go underground, on the run, and it becomes more of a Bonnie and Clyde inspired love story. During this time they have to work their way up through the criminal underworld to eventually lead to a point where they have financial security in the city of Vice City. Now in terms of the endings and possible routes this can go down, I'm really unsure. I've seen a lot of theories that potentially they have a difficult decision where they have to turn on each other, potentially give information to the police. There's so many different opportunities for endings in this particular instance. Now of course this is it's just all speculation and theory, of course it is. This is probably the biggest speculative video I've ever made in my life, but there's so many different potential endings regardless of the story that I've just told you. So I'll be very interested to hear what those are down below. Now one more thing I want to say in this video, and I wanted to use this video as the big announcement. You guys may have seen that I've been working with Venom UK recently. Now Venom are a company that make gaming accessories, so they make stuff like, where is it? It's here. They make this, which is a MetaQuest 3 charging pack, just goes on your headset, gives you an extra hour of gameplay. They also make controller stands, charging docks, and loads of other gaming accessories, and the best part about them, they are ridiculously cheap and good quality. They're a company that's been trading in the UK for years, and this isn't a sponsored segment of the video. This is just they're supporting the channel. They're a partner with me now. They've even given me my own little bio on their website, which is pretty cool. You should go and read that. But yeah, they're based in the UK. They do all sorts of different controller accessories. Now, if you're not based in the UK, you can still buy their stuff. You just have to find it from a UK retailer. So it might be on Amazon, it might be whatever. But yeah, their stuff is available everywhere. So please go and check them out. Go and show them some love. I am so stoked that Venom want to work for me. I've been buying Venom products since I was a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't have hundreds and hundreds of pounds to spend on different gaming tech and gaming accessories. So for them being a cheap alternative, it put me in a situation where I could have cool stuff as a kid without having to spend loads of money. I really love their products. I love their team. The team of the loveliest people, and I'm a big fan of everything they do. So go and show them some love. If you don't want to buy anything from their store at the moment, of course, absolutely fine, but head over to their social media, which is the pinned comment on this video, and go and show them some love. Go and say hello, tell them Cyberboy sent you, because we love Venom around here. They're an awesome company. And like I said at the start of the video, I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So honestly, tapping that subscribe button helps me more than you know, and it's massively appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you leave a comment with how you think the story is going to end, if it's a really good ending, I might make a separate video about that, probably diving into how that could transpire within the story. And I will see you all in the next one. Spin the